Delighted to say, as always on a Monday morning, I know you're always chuffed to hear from him as well. Commentator Sam Armstrong joins me. Morning to you.
Good morning.
It's terrifying to me that you are a voice of common sense and and morality, given the world we are living in. But you are.
Well, it's a bleak day on August, and I think the weather suits the climate of politics.
Yeah, watch out for the winds up north. There we are. That's my weather warning. This is the thing. Could the BBC and everyone else, could they just limit it to, it's going to be windy, strap it down?
I thought
strap
we were,
it down, you know, bring the trampoline in or whatever it is you have to do.
I thought we were meant to be in the midst of global warming gone mad. This summer, that started promisingly, has just descended into what it always is, a good old-fashioned British summer.
Well, good thing we did actually get a bit of a summer earlier, because I think we did about 4 seasons yesterday where I was, but there we are. I just alternated sunglasses and umbrella, sometimes both. Right, should we talk about... this is the thing. I've got to be honest with you, were I an asylum seeker, okay, for some basket case, godforsaken country like Afghanistan or Somalia or many of the other countries that people come from, I'm still thinking, even without all the benefits and the asylum hotels and everything, I would stay in France just for the weather over coming to Britain. But apparently not. They would much rather be in an asylum hotel, you know, somewhere in England instead. You know, choices that people make, apparently. But we've got this announcement from Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, of yet another border security boost. The government's vowing another major crackdown on people smuggling gangs. So we've got 100 million quid going on that. They've said they'd managed to get a load of dinghies that would have had, you know, 60 people on each of them. They'll just make some more dinghies and sell those. They're also clamping down, and I like this story actually, on universities using foreign students effectively to make a load of money, knowing these foreign students are going to pay them $9.5 grand in fees and then never actually turn up. They're actually going to claim asylum. Many actually foreign students, they come here, they do their course, they get their degree, and then about 5 minutes before their degree is over, oh, turns out I need to claim asylum. I mean, these are completely bogus claims. They should be instantly thrown out of the country, no question at all, marched to the door. But at least the government is trying to crack down on that. I would like a better crackdown on that. I would simply say any foreign student who claims asylum at any point before, during or after their university education, that there is like a £100,000 fine for the university for each one, because that would focus their minds on only having people who they know are genuine. But is this, I mean, silly. Is the £100 million border security boost going to do anything, Sam?
Julia, there are times where I'm amazed our listeners keep tuning in to us, because for the last...
Don't say that!
Well, I will say that.
I love you,
Because for the last 3 years, we have had announcement after announcement after announcement, exactly the same, by a political class that must think we have been on the planet Zog for the past 3 years. You keep saying this. There has been a weekly crackdown on migration for the last 150 plus weeks, and yet with our own eyes, what do we see? Streams and streams of people flooding into the country through every single nook and cranny, and they are coming in not just in the boats, they're still coming in the lorries, they're coming in as students, they're coming in on work visas. We can see it with our eyes. We can see the rising crime, and I'm afraid that illegal migration, notwithstanding the crime of breaking into the country in the first place, does lead to an increase in crime. We can see it when we try and get a GP appointment. We can see it when we try and get our kids into the school, and even when they are in school, they turn up and they're in a class with a bunch of people, none of whom speak English, and that hard-pressed reception teacher is having to run around with a translation app on their phone. We can see it everywhere, and yet they think that, oh yes, this time we'll send out Angela Eagle with a nasally voice, and she will announce £100 million for new tactic. It is...
Don't know what that accent was, but well done.
A load of absolute...
But the key thing here is that no one thinks that anyone in the Labour Party, Yvette Cooper, Angela Eagle, Keir Starmer, anyone in this government actually thinks cracking down on this is something they should do. They're doing it, or pretending to do it, or going through the motions of pretending to do it, because they know that other people are cross about it. They're looking at the polls, they're looking at the focus groups, and they've realised even some of their Labour voters, particularly in lots of those seats they scraped into the last election, which they're very likely to lose to Reform, that they're playing along. They don't actually think that mass uncontrolled legal immigration is a problem, and they don't actually think that mass uncontrolled illegal immigration is a problem. They don't really think it's a problem, which is why we have such difficulty. And again, most of the last Tory government didn't either. You know that and I know that. I paid lip service to it. But here's the thing. If you don't do anything. Look, this is like you know, if your other half is having an affair, saying, I really don't want to have it. I'm really sorry, I shouldn't have done it. Well, the proof is in the pudding. Don't have an affair. I mean, it's really easy to not. I mean, I have funny feeling that if you or I, and frankly most of our audience, if we were in charge, we would be able to stop those boats. It's the willingness and to use the ability. We have the ability to stop people coming to this country. We have the ability to get rid of them. We choose not to do it. We choose not to change the law, make the law. They're able to change the law like that when they want to, and they choose not to do it, which means they don't really think it's a problem. And they do think that people who see the problem, talk about the problem, are far-right bigots. They think Reform are, they think people like Robert Jenrick and the Tories are, they certainly think you and I are, without a doubt, and they certainly think the people who are protesting outside asylum hotels are. We saw more protests outside the Britannia Hotel. The Barbican, again, it's now spreading across the country. I discovered last week, as I mentioned on the show, that a local hotel near me is now an asylum hotel, and I'm sort of gathering information on that, and I'll report on that when I've got more information. We have like trouble outside hotels. And we're told, you know, peaceful protests like the Britannia Hotel in Barbican. I mean, this is a posh part of town. I mean, you know, this is you know, zone one posh part of. I mean, I don't like the Barbican area much, but you know, you're not talking in the sticks. And people are, you know, they're having protests, and we've seen these protests at Canary Wharf as well, where they have people. It's largely women and children. They're doing protests, and then you know, some idiots turn up. Now, often the trouble is actually when the counter protesters turn up,
bust in.
They bust in. Everyone going saying, "We love having refugees here. We don't even live here. It's not even your opinion." But often the violence, such as there is any, or difficulties with the police, is often from the clashes after those people turn up to basically try and cause trouble at a peaceful protest by mothers and children.
Politics is, at the end of the day, about choices, and this government had a choice. It could either stop the literal pillaging of our country by an invading hordes that are arriving day by day, or it could do something different. And this is what it's decided to do. It has decided to find everybody that thinks that this is a problem, everybody that is concerned about the waiting lists, that is concerned about the crime, and it has decided to go after them instead. It has decided that if you choose to speak out on social media, your content will be blocked. If you stray out of the line too far, you'll be locked up for 31 months, like Lucy Connley, former Conservative councillor. If you're a local mum and you decide to go and protest outside a hotel wearing pink, groups of mums, that the Metropolitan Police Service are going to turn up, they are going to push you out of the road, and then they're going to slap an order on you that says, if you turn up here again in the next month, we will arrest you on site. Where were those arrests? Where were those arrests when hordes of people marched through London every week, intimidating and persecuting British Jews? There were nothing to be seen. The police have all of a sudden discovered they've got powers. This is a government that was elected on the slimmest of popular votes. 32% of the vote, just 20% of the British public voted for them at the last election. And since they have been in office, they have been clamping down very deliberately, in my opinion, on any form of dissent that has caused...
Social media, on the streets.
Social media, the streets. If you're in a workplace, you're going to get sacked if you speak out about it. Everybody that's listening to this show knows that they have had to self-censor themselves because they know and they have been told an unfailing, unequivocal message right from the top that if you speak out, we're coming after you. It is, in my opinion, a tantamount to a kind of dictatorial coup d'etat. And I apologise for putting it that highly, but I really think it is. If you are elected on a slim majority, basically because your opposition is splintered under our first past the post system, and when you get in, you clamp down on dissent, you do things to change the way people vote, votes for 16-year-olds, a number of things that Labour are doing to make it easier for themselves to get more vote. No doubt will make it easier for overseas people to vote at the next election. This is a government that has a plan, and that plan is to shut us up and to do whatever it takes to keep themselves there for as long as they can grip onto the wheels of power.
I think that may be their plan, and good luck with that plan. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to fall, flat on their face. But as you say, it's very dangerous. It's very sinister. By the way, I was saying the Britannia Hotel, Barbican. Britannia is the one in Canary Wharf. Apologies. There are so many of them. It's easy to get confused. But this is the thing. One of the things they want people not to talk about is the criminal link with migrants. And Robert Jenrick, the Shadow Justice Secretary, has been very clear. He says, the figures that he has seen, bearing in mind he's a former Home Office Minister, okay, and he's the Shadow Justice Secretary, that 40% of crimes committed in the London area are committed by people of foreign nationality. Not all asylum, but of foreign nationality, but they do not make up anything like 40% of the population of London. They are overrepresented. But we've also got a massive issue. I mean, two cases just in the last week or so, where we've got a 12-year-old girl allegedly raped. And two Afghan asylum seekers have been charged in relation to the rape of the 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton. And now there's a big concern about inflaming community tensions. Yeah, do you think, and we're talking about, again, the two people who have been arrested are asylum seekers. Now, they're entitled, as everyone should be, in a proper democratic justice-based society, to the rule of law and to innocence until proven guilty. But these are active charges. We need to be careful. However, you can understand why people will be worried. And there's also a Sudanese asylum seeker who has also been arrested, living in a 3-star asylum hotel paid for by the government, according to the arrest. He's alleged that he attempted to kidnap a 10-year-old girl while she was with her father. Now, I'm sorry, there is something going on. These stories don't come from nowhere, and we don't know in these specific cases what's actually going to happen as a result. However, there is no doubt at all that people are seeing, I've certainly noticed in my area, the massive rise in crime that you see when an asylum hotel... I mean, the reason why I found out about the asylum hotel was because talking with neighbours about how people are having bikes stolen, my bags stolen, people having break-ins. Lived in the same area for 19 years, and in the last year we've had two attempted break-ins. But I've never had one before. I mean, people start talking about this stuff. People notice it. We're not stupid. I don't know if they're linked, but I'd like someone to investigate whether they are linked.
Here's the thing. If the only way you can keep a lid on community tensions, if the only way you can keep people calm from going out onto the streets is to conduct a massive national conspiracy of silence in which details are hidden from the public on an industrial scale, then this country has already fallen. It is over. Look, we need, as a country, to be in a situation in which we can have a discussion about what is going on in our society broadly. That is the way that we have existed for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And it is only now that we have reached the stage as a society in which the truth, knowledge, basic data is not just for some reason kept quiet. It is considered by the authorities to be dangerous. It is considered dangerous for you, for me, for anybody listening to this to know the truth about what is happening on their own streets. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, then nothing ever will.
I can tell you a few years ago, I was making a point on air about the increased criminality in all the countries, particularly in sex crimes, violent sex crimes against women in countries which had mass uncontrolled legal immigration. And I got an Ofcom complaint, and Ofcom said, oh, we'll give you a chance. We'll give you a chance to have a look at, to answer this. And of course, I just responded with, no mainstream media at the time was covering any of this, but I got the official stats for, Sweden, Germany, France, Italy, Denmark, no, not Denmark, because they've been relatively sane on this, Austria. But I just got the official stats. And made sure that any report I found was absolutely based on official stats, and just responded with all of that. And it's like, and it quickly went away. It's like, sorry, well, Ofcom, you could have Googled the stats yourself, but the assumption that if someone says that, you must be lying. No. The statistics in other countries are there. And again, Denmark actually was one of the first countries to actually say, well, let's actually publish the nationality or the immigration status of the people who, and let's know. Because here's the thing, again, it's like economic benefits. If immigration is such a great benefit to us economically and diversity and justice-wise and everything, show us the stats that prove it. And if you can't show us the stats, and there are loads of stats showing the exact opposite, unless we are choosy about who comes here, people who want to make a life here, work hard, contribute, have skills that we need, want to integrate and assimilate. Welcome, thank you very much indeed. Come and be part of our community. That's fine, but that's not where we are with, I would say now, the majority of people coming to this country. And it just seems to me to be, if you are scared of facts, look, it's the same as the trans debate. You can't talk about, it's the same as the climate net zero debate, shutdown debate. Do not allow dissent. Immigration for years, do not allow anyone to question. And whenever someone tries to shut down debate, that's how you know that they don't have the facts on their side, because no one who's got the facts on their side is scared of a debate.
And you're right to be saying that this has been going on for years, and people in this country have tried concern, they have tried consternation, they have tried disappointment, they've tried writing to their MPs.
They've tried voting.
They've tried voting again and again and again for political parties that promise the world and deliver nothing. And then for Angela Eagle, I'm sorry to go back to that dreadful woman, to go on the television this morning and to have the audacity to say that anger doesn't get you anywhere. Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Eagle, but the people of this country have tried just about everything else. They have tried again and again to use every lever available to them, and you and everybody like you has done nothing. So yes, they are angry, but that is more than legitimate at this point.
Anger, but again, the same thing. We're also told don't look back in anger when people blow up our children at pop concerts, because that's how anger is a very legitimate and real human emotion, and there are times when it is absolutely appropriate, and I would say now it is. But need to keep within the law, need to keep peaceful. Don't give them ammunition. We're on the right side, they're on the wrong side. Don't give them ammunition. That's all I say. Look, I've got so much I want to talk about. I really, really, really want to get to Keir Starmer and basically, telling Hamas, well done on October the 7th. Now you might get your Palestinian state, and those horrific videos of incredibly emaciated hostages. And also, we're going to bring 300 children and their families from Gaza to be treated on the NHS, because there is, I can tell you categorically right now, not a single child in this country waiting for any health treatment whatsoever. Not one child in this country is waiting for health treatment on the NHS. Of course they sodding well are.